Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Playeasy Warmup, the podcast where we dive into the stories, people, and places driving the sporting event and tourism industry forward. I'm your host, Carrie Shields. As we kick off a new year, I wanted to take a moment to look back because 2025 truly gave us some special conversations that really stuck with me. From founders and event organizers to destination leaders and innovators across the sports tourism and event space, there were so many moments that stopped me mid-conversation and reminded me of how lucky I am to do this job and why I love doing this show. This past year brought incredible conversations about leadership, growth, community, innovation, and the real impact that sports can have on the people and places. Today's episode is a little different. We're revisiting some of our favorite clips from 2025, moments of insight, honesty, leadership, and purpose that really stuck with me. Whether you've heard these episodes before or you're hearing them for the first time, I hope these clips inspire you as much as they inspired me. I also want to take a moment to thank every guest who joined us for this show. I feel incredibly lucky to be trusted with these conversations, and it's not something that I take lightly. I truly love learning from each and every member of this network that we have and connecting with this community. I also wanted to just give a special thank you to our sponsors from this past year: Sports Richmond, Discover Davis, Valley Forge Sports, Visit Myrtle Beach, and Visit Frisco. We would not have been able to invest the time and energy into growing this podcast and the media side of our business without your support. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for your trust, your belief, and your partnership. I hope you enjoy this look back at some of the moments that made 2025 so meaningful here on the Playeasy Warmup. I hope you enjoy. Welcome to Sports City, USA, Frisco, Texas. Ever wonder how a small town in North Texas became the epicenter of American sports? From the Dallas Cowboys to the PGA of America, Frisco is where champions train, fans gather, and unforgettable events come to life. In our new docuseries, Where Greatness Grows, hear the real story from the people who built it. City leaders, sports execs, and visionaries who turned Frisco into a powerhouse for tournaments and meetings. With world-class venues, championship fields, and top-tier hotels all in one place, Frisco is more than ready to host your next big event. Watch the story at sportscityusa.com.
You have so many of the professional leagues touching this community, whether it's Major League Soccer or the NFL or the PGA.
Failure was just not an option.
It's been really cool to build the business that we have here in Frisco.
It's one of those places where you want to be if you're into sports.
People are pointing here, and they're saying, I need to go there.
When it comes to scaling an event, growth doesn't happen by accident. Andrew Vorse from 5v5 Soccer shares how leveraging the right technology and systems made it possible to grow from a few dozen tournaments to hundreds. As you've continued to grow exponentially over the course of the last 4 years, how has technology and innovation contributed to the growth and success of 5v5 Soccer?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I think if you're not leveraging technology, you're not doing it right. I mean, we are in such a day and age where you can have Chat GPT on your phone and ask it to make you a grocery list. Like it's crazy the world that we live in these days. But you know, that was something when I first started with 5v5. You know, I think I've been here since the very beginning, right? I think there was one tournament before I started. That was the main focus for literally the entire first 2 years. I mean, half of our existence now, right? We're going into our 5th year now. But those first 24 months was entirely about finding the systems, the technologies, the processes that are going to allow you to scale, allow you to grow, right? So we started with, 40 some odd tournaments that first year. And the next year we only did 51 tournaments. So it's not like we grew that much from year 1 to year 2, but we really honed in on registrations and bracketing and scheduling and the systems and the duplicatable portion of what we do, making sure that we're on, programs like Playeasy where we can put out and say, hey, we're looking to grow in the Northeast. So can we put a bid just for those areas because we want to try to have a new tournament? Why would you not? You don't have to be in this world where you're, okay, I got to go Google stuff and I got to go look for this and, whatever. Like technology is such an important piece to that, which allowed us to go from 40 to 50 to 70 That's a big jump from year to year. And then we went from 70 to 103, and we're going to go from 100. I mean, I already have 73 tournaments on my schedule right now, and we've already done 5 so far this year. We're going to be at 150 or 200 tournaments, by the end of this year. More if I have anything to say with it, which is what I do all day, every day. But we're at least going to be at 150 or 200 tournaments this year. And the only way that happens is by, leveraging technology.
Nick Povolitis from World Breaking Classic and Plus7 brings a unique perspective to sports tourism, having experience on both the destination and event organizer sides, reminding us that impact isn't just measured in room nights, but in market research, community connection, and smarter decision-making. You've been on the destination side of things, so the heads and beds is usually how historically we track just the overall success of an event, but there's a big trend in just the social media reach and influence. Why do you think that having that kind of social reach influences things like sponsorship, fan engagement, and even where events are hosted?
The beautiful thing about World Breaking Classic, like, I know how tourism bureaus and sports commissions sometimes are funded. It's based on heads and beds. So what you hear and what you see a lot is attendance of trade shows and picking up leads and trying to justify ROI. And I get that. It is very important. I'm not saying it's not important. The beautiful thing about World Breaking Classic in this community is it's very, very marketing driven. So brands get behind it for brand collaborations. Of course, there's a significant reach on social media and even email to a certain extent. But destinations and tourism bureaus are really tasked. Yes, they're sales organizations, but they may be even more marketing organizations. So there is a way for destinations and sports commissions to understand the value, because inherently they're marketing their community, they're marketing the assets from a venue perspective that they have to bring in a World Breaking Classic or AAU Nationals or NCAA championships. So really they're marketing entities. So it's about closing that narrative gap. So it's not always about heads and beds and ROI from room nights. It can be, it's important, but also under consideration because of the nature of who these entities are with respect to marketing, these are marketing plays as well. So we've been able to close that gap through conversations. And a big part of why Tulsa came on board and why we landed in Tulsa twice is they understood it was not only about heads and beds. It was about marketing. It was about community impact. It was about leading into a new program that can help them build relationships locally that they otherwise may not have. So there's a lot of value in there that is evergreen and extends beyond the life of one single event. So for all those reasons, I mean, I couldn't be more excited about our place within the sports events and tourism space, and really looking forward to what lies ahead.
Ruby George from the United Grid League talks about the importance of efficiency and partnership, from simplifying the venue search process to finding a destination that truly supports the growth of the event. As you continue to rise, how do tools like Playeasy support your team in discovering and booking the right venues to meet your league's needs?
I mean, it was awesome when I discovered Playeasy because we were looking for our championship venue for this year, because we didn't have an expo that was going to fit within our time frame. And so for the first time, we were starting to look at venues, and I was just like, I don't have time to do this. I legitimately said, like, I cannot go find a new venue. And then somehow I found Playeasy, and it was like, it's all of this is done for me. And so, I was able to talk to a whole bunch of different venues and different areas that wanted to bring the sport there, and got quotes from several of them, which was awesome, and ended up landing on one in Kissimmee that I think we're gonna sign the contract with this week. And it was even really great because it's it's fairly late. We're only a couple months out from our August date, and we were still able to really chat with him about what we needed. She was able to find us a couple of venues to look at. We went and had a site visit, and it was perfect. It saved us so much time.
We love to hear that, and that was the purpose. We came from your side of the business was, how is there not a way to source all venues across the country for any specific event? And so there's nothing more we love to hear than a success story like that. James Zitmanis from Weekend Hockey shares how the right tools can unlock expansion into new cities and why the overall destination experience plays such a big role in tournament success. James, could you speak to how Playeasy has helped with your expansion?
Playeasy has been instrumental in getting new cities reaching out to us that we never thought was possible. We thought attending sports commission conferences, which are great to meet people in person and such, but um, last season, Playeasy sent out an RFP to several U.S. destinations, and I was so blown away on the response. It took me a week to answer all the emails or all the messages of interest in us bringing a tournament to their city. So yeah, Playeasy's platform's been incredible.
Uh, well, nothing makes us happier than to hear that. So thank you. Rachel Daly from Valley Forge reflects on what made hosting our first ever Playeasy Innovator Summit so meaningful, focusing on experience, trust, and belief in the people behind the product. When we first came up with the idea, what were your initial thoughts and what made you even want to host our event?
Yeah, I think, it's twofold, right? Number one, I know that our team here has been wanting to host a sports conference for a while, and we've been deliberating internally a lot over like, what does that look like? What kind of conference makes sense here? Because, for us and for our organization and our team, our biggest focus is on the experience for people, right? That's what makes us a great sports destination, and it's what makes it a good conference destination. And so we were really, really specific about what do we want to consider bringing here to make sure that it's not too large or, too cumbersome such that the experience would be compromised. And when we started, when you guys came out for the site visit, and, the more I got to know you all, and the platform, I was like, man, I wish they had a conference. That would be just a great fit. And we said it kind of in jest, and then it was like, oh, well, wait, you're really thinking about it. So that worked out. But I think it's, the second half of it is believing in the product, right? And also the people behind the product. So I think that because we had a good relationship developed with you guys, we kind of trusted that, we would be able to have a good partnership.
Josh Dill from Visit Frisco challenges the traditional definition of success, highlighting the importance of community impact, digital reach, and long-term alignment with event organizers. I talk to event organizers all the time, and now with the shift in not just tracking success from heads and beds, but the digital imprint and the community impact, and them being able to communicate that to a destination is something that I think people are still learning. And so, one, is your scorecard something that you share with other destinations and event organizers? And two, do you have any advice for an event organizer and how they communicate that within their RFP or just communication with you?
Yeah, I mean, I've shared it. I did a session at Congress last year and shared my scorecard, and immediately got a bunch of people reaching out, going, "Hey, share that." And for me, I'm like, I don't. It's not proprietary. It's just something I built. It works for us. You have to adapt it for your destination because you have different priorities and things like that. But I've always been an open book, and I try to share it with other destinations. We don't typically talk to the rights holders about what it scored because I don't want anybody getting their feelings hurt or anything like that. Or someone going and saying, hey, this is our event is scored this much according to this. Well, it doesn't translate from city to city all the time because you have what's a big event for me is not a big event for Detroit all the time, right? So but I do think that event organizers, and that's one of the things that I want to push even through the docuseries is it's that partnership. What is your story? What story do you want to tell? But the second question is, what story do people want to hear? Right? I can tell people over and over, this is how many events we did and all this, but my residents don't necessarily want to hear that. They want to hear how it benefits them. And so if I'm an event organizer and I'm coming into a city, yeah, I want to show that we had a great event, but how do I show and partner with that destination to show that that event really fit with that city, or these athletes and attendees and parents and everything else got a unique experience because it was in that destination. Again, it's thinking through the lens of who's across the table from you and what helps them, and then trying to tell a cohesive story that does both things. And I think whenever you can do that, it's really impactful and really powerful. And that's what I think our docuseries hopefully does, is show that it's not just about Josh wants to book room nights, Josh wants to collect taxes and all of this stuff, but going, my event people go, I want to grow the sport. Well, I'm going to show you that we can do that here. Or they say, hey, I want to grow my revenue, or I want to grow my awareness of the sport. We can do that for you here, and it benefits both of us. And so that's just always the goal.
Nick Factorin from USA Dodgeball talks about what makes a destination a great partner, from community ties to creating experiences for athletes and families beyond the venue. Beyond the venue itself, what role does the surrounding community play in your event decision making?
Yeah, and it's always nice to have, stuff to do in the city. So like a lot of cities that come to us and want to have dodgeball in their city, they also, give us recommendations of after party locations, and destinations that actually people want to visit, right? And so like anything that the destinations can give to us that say, hey, your players would really like this if they bring their families. This is what they would want to do. Things like that would really help in our decision making and make it very easy for us to select a place.
That's awesome. And from your perspective, how can a destination better support niche or emerging sports like dodgeball?
Really, it is fostering that community, helping with the local dodgeball leagues if there's any, and starting them if there's none. Really spreading the sport and giving awareness to what we have as a sport and what we can bring to their city.
Aaron Miller and Jess Merrill from Discover Davis share how digital storytelling, local partnerships, and stakeholder buy-in help create a destination experience that benefits everyone involved. As we get into this time where everything is digital and everyone wants to share on social media, me included, it's just a great way of getting your branding out there. And the shopping center, I could see on a Playeasy profile, it shows all of the attractions and restaurants and things to do around your area. And I was shocked by how close all of these attractions were to the main event center. And how have you, one, do you have a membership-based model, or how have you gotten the buy-in from the local businesses and restaurants to promote to incoming participants and spectators coming in to your city?
So I can answer this one. So we are not membership based. We are part of county government. So we are doing this as a public servants. And so for us, it's really, we have a very collective group of stakeholders and industry partners. Aaron has been significant in bringing a lot of those partners together to keep them updated on things that are happening, events that are coming in, especially when we were building this facility, they were part of those conversations. Just because we do know that there is impacts to them on a positive level, and also wanting to be more partners with them. We also, the amusement park that I mentioned earlier, Lagoon Amusement Park, it's literally across pretty much the freeway, which is right by our facility, within 5-minute drive, if that. And so we've worked with them on different capacities of, when groups come in, we get discounted tickets if families want to buy them. And we've worked with other industry partners in that kind of same regard. So a lot of it is it's a lot of work on our end, but it's part of that kind of advocacy and communication efforts, not only to the public, but then also our stakeholders, so that we can all, everybody can benefit from this, and be partners in some way. And luckily we have some great partners that see the direct impacts, even if we weren't telling them about them.
Dalton Rakestraw from the NHPA walks through how open RFPs and the right host destination have fueled the growth of their championships and elevated attendee experiences. You guys are growing at a pretty fast pace, and you right now have 4 open RFPs on Playeasy. Can you walk us through what kind of events or host opportunities those are?
So our main event is our World Championships. It's a 2-week-long event that culminates into qualifying at the beginning, and then the final 3 days is the championships, where we crown our adult winners, and our youth competitors are crowned during that time as well, earlier in the week. So that open RFP is now for 2030. So we're booked pretty far out in advance, which is a good thing, and it's a bad thing all in the same time. But we're working it. It's very well. So that's what I go and solicit at these sports conferences in general, just because that is what that's the big picture for us. That accompanies, upwards of 1,000 players. Post COVID, we've not seen that, but we're hoping next year we can pull that off, just because we're going to a location. We're going to Wausau, Wisconsin. I have partnered with Visit Wausau, and we're just hoping that we're going to a place that our larger horseshoe charters with membership are surrounding. So we're hoping to hit that again.
Laura Balstrini from American Foot Golf League highlights how streamlined RFPs can simplify decision-making and help event organizers move faster and more confidently.
It's also easy for me when they say, hey, do you have your RFP? And I may be traveling or something. And my answer is, it's on Playeasy. go get it from them. and then, because we've got the ability to put some video there and some other links there, then they're seeing what the sport is too, which is really important to us, because it's not always what people think it is in their head. And then they see it on a video and it's like, oh, okay, now I get it. So yeah, this really is like golf, isn't it? So it's just been a really big help in that. And Ryan has been great at like nudging me along, going, your RFP is expiring. Can you do you want me to do it? I think sometimes he feels like, would you like me to write it for you? So we're a small team here of about 3 people that keep this running. So we get in over our heads a lot. You guys are great help for that.
Ryan will definitely appreciate that shout out, and we're always happy to hear. Eric Grosinger from the National Wheelchair Basketball Association shares the heart behind the largest and oldest disabled sports organization in the world, and how access to sport can restore a sense of normalcy and opportunity. The NWBA is the oldest and largest disabled sports organization in the world. And so what do you think has allowed the organization to not only endure for more than 70 years, but continue to grow?
I think in terms of access, a lot of wheelchair sports, the wheelchair is a crucial piece of equipment, but outside of that piece, I think we're it's something that a lot of like kids that are unsure of, they're maybe recently disabled, or they're unsure of how to express themselves athletically. I feel like wheelchair basketball is the easiest kind of segue into that, and we do serve a lot of spinal cord injury athletes that maybe grew up playing basketball, that had an injury, that now are looking to get back to that sense of normalcy that they had prior to their injury. Basketball is that easy outlet. The mechanics, at least of shooting, remain pretty similar even post injury. So I feel like that is a natural draw for a lot of especially our adult athletes that are getting into the sport maybe later.
Juan Blanco from Four Fangs Events by Parallax gives a great example of destination partnership in action, sharing how Utah Valley supported their Pioneer Cup soccer tournament.
So Pioneer Soccer Cup took place in July this year. It was 110 teams from different parts of Utah, neighbor states, I think Nevada as well. And basically it was an interleague soccer tournament. I was going to say representing several communities in Utah and Nevada. And at the end, I came in, tried to bring together all the ecosystem of Utah, and happy to also say that we open a category for Special Olympics and top soccer teams. So this was a fantastic opportunity for this other audience, which is part of the ecosystem, to be part of mainstream event, quote, mainstream event. So I think it's an effort for us, event producers, to, I would say, walk the DIB, road and be as inclusive as possible. Not only with maybe clubs that are not affiliated yet, I tend to handhold them in order to become a member of a state association, but also to serve other audiences, such as top soccer and Special Olympic teams and athletes, to come and be part of this event. So I'm happy to share with you more about this case study, the people from Utah Valley Epic and that part of the country is fantastic to work with.
Yeah, that's funny. I actually just got back from a trip at Utah Valley and got to see
Okay.
the brand new Epic Sports Park. And shout out to Abby and her team. They're so great to work with and do a great job of just creating those long lasting partnerships. So that's always great to hear. John Hardy from League One Volleyball talks about building long term destination partnerships, aligning goals, and committing to growing events over time. What is the importance of building that partnership with that destination?
I think when you have two people with goals that align, right? The city's got the facility, they got the infrastructure, and they're really trying to bring in tourism into their community. We have clubs in that region who are looking for places to play. We have relationships with other clubs inside that region. It's really a great match to be able to tap into that. And when I was just with one company and I didn't have the relationship with the clubs as tightly as we do within all the love clubs now. And so I think that's a unique advantage for League One to be able to help fill a facility inside of a community out there, and them understanding in this day and time. There's you see a lot of turnover, a lot of people switching jobs, and whether that be the hotel industry or the CVB or sports commission industry. And so doing long-term partnerships really shows that it's not just they would know that long term we're in it to continue to grow those events, because if we overpromise, don't deliver, don't run a very good tournament, which sometimes can happen when you rotate cities. It's like, oh, I went in there, didn't work the way we want, tough, let's move on. We're more committed to, hey, didn't work the way we want. What do we need to do to be better? How do we collaborate to get this, bigger, or fix the things, because we are in those communities or close to those communities um, when we're not playing there, right? Like you're part of that state or you're part of that community a lot of times. So I think that gives you better synergies of working together.
Daniel Noak from Hamilton Barca shares how Playeasy helped level the playing field by providing structure, access, and connections to destinations around the world. How did you originally connect with Playeasy? I know we have people listening who are like, how the heck did you get in touch with Dan and his organization? So what originally drew you to Playeasy, and how do you see it being beneficial to the work that you do?
Well, we've worked with governments, as I say, and so a lot of governments that we speak to are interested in hosting and how they go about connecting with federations, for instance. And so, one example, we've taken the government of Rwanda to the Hosts and Federations Summit in Lausanne in Switzerland and supported them through the process of making connections with some of those federations, amazing federations that are in Switzerland. And that's resulted in relationships where they're starting to bring in major events now. One example of that is the UCI World Road Cycling, which is happening here in September. That's the first time that event has ever happened on the continent. And so there's a lot of governments that are really looking at how they best connect with federations and how they market themselves as a destination, particularly to sports events. And so our experience of that is a very manual process, right? It's who you know, it's kind of old boys network to a certain degree. And what I really liked about Playeasy was that it was a platform that leveled the playing field a little bit. And there was an opportunity to connect with a vast number of destinations. And for some of our federation partners that we might work with, being able to put an event on Playeasy, very concisely talk about what it is, what the opportunity is there, and then market that event to dozens and if not hundreds of destinations now, I think, on Playeasy, right? It's absolute no-brainer. So that's where we first got connected and first got talking about who we work with, what their objectives were, and how Playeasy might support it. We've worked with World Freestyle Football to post events on Playeasy and connect with destinations through Playeasy. We did that similarly with the International Schools Federation with a few of the events that they have. And we got some fantastic leads. We had some fantastic conversations with destinations. So I saw Playeasy as a way to democratize the process, put a bit of structure behind it, and get rid of the old boys network, which I'm generally not a fan of, but which is a bit rich for someone coming from IMG, and anybody knows about that business and how it operates. But there we go.
Glenn Mary introduces Move United and their mission to provide athletic opportunities and access to sport for individuals with disabilities. For those who might not know who Move United is and what you do, could you give a little bit of a background and introduction to the organization?
Yeah, so Move United uses the power of sport to push what's possible for people with physical disabilities. And what I mean by that is we meet athletes in community-based programs across the country. We're in 45 states. We now have 248 locations. And we present a menu of about 70 different sports that you can participate in, that you can compete in, that you can recreate in. And what we're trying to do is make it more familiar for people with disabilities that sport is for them. And on the flip side, to challenge America's misperceptions of what disability is and that people with disabilities should be doing sport. They should be doing day-to-day activities the way everyone else does, and that the disability shouldn't be a barrier. And so it's a really interesting nexus of a social movement paired up with sports is kind of that fulcrum point to leverage change.
And that's a wrap for our look back at some of the moments that define 2025 here on the Playeasy Warmup. I'm so grateful for every conversation, every guest, and every listener who tuned in, shared an episode, or reached out with a note along the way. Truly means so much. And these conversations continue to remind me why this community is so special and why the work happening across sports and tourism really matters. As we head into a new year, I'm excited for what's ahead and for the stories we'll continue to share together. Thank you for being part of the Playeasy Warmup. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, share it with someone in your network, and let us know which moments stood out to you. We'll see you next time. Bye.